What's going on, guys? I hope everything has been going well for you this Friday. Uh, just wanted to kind of cover the Bitcoin chart with you all. I've seen some interesting things happen. All right, where I left off last was where this particular bull flag was developing. There was only one or two candles in, so it didn't really play out until around 4 hours later. It wasn't something I was really willing to play. It was just more so something that I was kind of expecting before I saw what I was really hoping to see, which was the bearish divergence on the higher term time frame. So I wanted to show you guys what I'm currently looking at. This is the uh, unofficial type of support resistance lines that I'm kind of seeing for this weekend that are going to play out. In my perspective, I mean, this could get invalidated immediately because it is the 1 hour. The 1 hour time frame is really uh, finicky, especially during weekend times. But I just kind of wanted to give you some support resistance levels, some new support resistance levels that actually might play a factor in the development of what's going to happen these next couple of days. But anywho, all right, so I'm not too sure if this is going to be another descending broadening wedge or if this is actually a bull flag. Why do I say that? Well, if I were to stretch this out here, um, it would kind of be a little bit more tasteful in terms of actual positioning. Probably something like this. Now, the top side is pretty developed, I'll be honest with you. So the sloping top side resistance is pretty confirmed. Now, this is not necessarily confirmed, to be honest. There's only two touch points, I would say, like legitly two candle closes. I mean, you could argue that this wick was the third, so which is why I'm kind of more leaning towards a broadening descending wedge. Um, Now, there is an invalidation line, so if you do see multiple hourly candles close above 22.12, yeah, you'll definitely see an invalidation of this. Now, keep in mind, weekend price action's crazy. I'm not trading. I'm more so just kind of like seeing what could play out and what positions will I may be coming either Monday or Tuesday. No lie, I kind of want this to develop because broadening descending wedges are bullish at the end of the day. So if we can kind of see something like that, maybe uh, here I do have a previous resistance line here that was confirmed as new support. So I am going to put a pivot line right there. So we do have this aspect here. And also this crucial zone right here, this particular 3%, 4% zone is pretty important. So if the bulls are unable to really well, I mean they could break it ASAP, right? This is just like theory. But if they're able to actually, if this plays out, turn this into support right here, actually turn this resistance line as support, then we're onto something here. We're onto consistent higher lows. Um, okay, just a quick recap. I did want to brag here, and I didn't even believe it myself. I closed my long like right around here, um, but I did a measured move, and it's like this vertical dark blue line, and dang it, look how close it was to the actual pivot, the actual price pivot. It is so close. Like it is like like a hair thin. It is a couple percentage points away from actual. It's like 0.1% away. So for the people who don't necessarily like measured moves and like pattern trading, I just don't like to listen to you because some of these things actually, are based in theory that huge whales, price manipulators, composite operators is what they like to call them, they actually follow through on these things and it plays out from even a psychological level. I'm not even going to get into that. It's a whole different subject altogether. But going back to current price action. So currently, this zone is considered weak resistance. You do have various pivot points. You now have a confirmed hourly resistance. Oh, whoops. Confirmed hourly resistance here at 22.123. And yeah, the 22.6 was not even tagged, but yeah, there is a lot of legit resistance here that the bulls need to really kind of take out over time. That's just something that I don't think uh, the bulls are ready for, in my opinion. I like that they did create a higher high than the previous high up here, so that's really constructive. Um, but at the end of the day, I would like to see some consolidation and really true support kind of like play out within the coming day or two. Um, yeah, I would say the resolution is at least 5 days from now, at the very least. Um, but yeah, honestly though, if this supply line is broken, oh my God. This is something that I'm also looking at. Now, if I could just like go from the 1 hour to the 4 hour chart, I wanted to show you guys something that I'm kind of, it's kind of like alarming me a bit. 'Cause yeah, this could get real ugly, not gonna lie. 'Cause this would, um, you could argue that this is like the beginning of a bear flag. Okay, I don't want to alarm you, but this is kind of crazy. I mean, upward channels, if you, because you already have the top side confirmed, it confirmed yesterday. It says 1, 2, 3 touch points. You already have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you have a couple touch points. So this rising channel kind of mimics a bear flag, guys, like as sad as it is. So, if the bulls fail to, if price comes all the way down here again, and if the bulls fail to act as support right here, there's a lot of inflection points right here at this price line at 19.8 and 20.3. If this can't be flipped as like another higher low, oh my God, we are going to Goblin Town, guys. So. Obviously, this is going to take a couple days to play out. No lie, I do expect price to eventually come down here at some point. That's just my not financial advice, it's just theory. But yeah, there's a lot of confluence in all these different zones that could necessarily validate this particular rising wedge. Now, this isn't, these always, well, okay, I'm not going to use absolutes here, but these do tend to break to the downside, these rising wedges. But there is a percentage that this could actually get broken to the upside. Now, I've been pretty clear that I do think we need some more consolidation to the downside in order to really create a stronger base to then push to higher prices and back to like all-time highs. But at this point, um, yeah, I'm just gonna take it day by day. In the bear market, this is a trader's market, so yes, wise people will tell you to, just look at the daily chart and go from there. But in regards to quote unquote boring assets, and I totally agree that in the crypto market, the boring assets are the top five because they don't move as intense as the altcoins. But in regards to technical analysis, they're the ones that actually respect technical analysis better. So yeah, I mean, like I've said in the past, Bitcoin is or crypto, I'm sorry, the crypto industry itself is a homogenous market. So basically anything that Bitcoin does, the altcoins will follow. So if Bitcoin moves 1%, the mid caps will move, 2 to 3%. The micro caps will move, 5 to 10%, but vice versa. So if Bitcoin dumps 1%, you could expect a 3 to 10% dump on all altcoins. So that's why I mostly like to cover Bitcoin. I mean, I like you know, obviously not every chart is the same. You kind of get like little differences here and there with specific assets and all that. But, you know, from the get-go, yeah, Bitcoin is really the one that I like to focus in on. But yeah, so I'm going to go with the daily chart here. Okay, going from here. Okay, let's go. All right. Oh man, this is like super wonky. So much crap. Okay, from a daily perspective, we are still getting the TSI pointing to the upside. Yeah, across to negative 25. Now the zero line is a fake out zone. So as you can see, price did kind of want to kind of pivot to the downside. So that's kind of something I'm looking at in regards to maybe like a potential cool down phase. Money flow still pivoting to the upside, which is great. But if you look at the VWAP, which is the volume weighted average price, it's nearing a zone where momentum does want to eventually decide to reverse. So it's something I'm pretty concerned about. I think we're getting closer to a consolidation phase and a pivot to the downside. But I can't really count my chickens before they hatch because it's just not there yet. So I can't really say that at this time. Now, the 9 EMA, I'm going to delete this real quick because it's just not conducive to what I'm talking about at this time. Even this right there, I'm going to delete that. Okay. So in regards to the 9 EMA, I do think price wants to come back down to maybe like 20.7 just because that's how it is in regards to the 9 EMA. The 9 EMA is a really nice point of reference in regards to the median from top sides to bottom sides. Now, the 21 is curling up and it has, let me just move this out of the way. It has already tested it as resistance. I'm sorry, as support. So, not too sure if like the balance is at the 21 EMA or it's at the 9 EMA, but I'm just gonna assume at some point price will eventually want to come back down to at least the 9 EMA. That's just my theory on that. Let me see here. Let me go with the other indicators here. So the MACD is still pointing to the upside, and we actually broke. This is intriguing. So the momentum indicators are showing a higher low from the previous, so that's quite interesting. There could be a couple more days of upward movement, it seems, so that's kind of cool. Now that could change if certain things play out in smaller term timeframes, but so far so good on all other indicators. So this is pointing to the upside here as well. A lot of upside moves. So maybe my theory could be invalidated, but we'll see. Okay, interesting. So right here, this last point was where price decided to fake people out and created a reversal. Will that happen again? Because just as how the zero line is pivotal for a lot of these indicators, the zero line on the TSI, the zero line on the MACD, the 50 line is the zero line for the RSI in this particular case. It is a fake out zone. So there's a lot of like, you know, shorts opened up here. There's a lot of like pumps and dumps zones essentially. So what are the composite operators thinking to do this time around? As you can see on the TMA, the 50 line, same thing with the RSI, is kind of like the line in the sand for change of overall trend. We're basically on the precipice of a fake out zone on the daily, so that's kind of interesting to see from the slow moving averages to the fast moving averages. Okay, let me go to the 4 hour here. Alrighty, so the 4 hour, let me go to the market cipher indicator. Alright, so we do have a sell signal, confirmed sell signal with money flow still pointing to the upside, so that's rather interesting. Money flow is pointing to the upside, but momentum is kind of topping out. So that's kind of mixed signals at this time. But I do like the fact that the money flow is kind of just dissipating. But keep in mind, last time around when this happened, there was somewhat of a fake out right here. So like it was super weak money flow. So if you look back in history on this particular indicator, usually when there's a pivot, you kind of like when you've been in such redness for a while, you kind of get like a little mini fake out, and then the next one is where like the next run comes. So this is kind of intriguing to me. Maybe, are we going to see something different? Possibly, not too sure. I mean, really, that's kind of just like conjecture at this point because look at this. So it was heavy money flow to the downside, then you had like a fake out to the top side, then you had weakness bearish, then you had another fake out to the top side, and you just had another massive dump. So that theory is not necessarily solid. So at this time, I'm just going to go with the momentum waves. So the momentum had its downside move and had its upside move. So are we gonna, see some downside? So further validating my downward trend from the intraday standpoint. So that's kind of intriguing. So the 4-hour does break away from the top side daily. So let me turn off the candles and see. You see, so far, yeah, I'm getting a resistance line here at 21.86. So bulls are trying to push above this overall, but usually when you see things like that, what usually happens is that like you'll have like pumps or irrational pumps to the downside, upside, and then it'll kind of just like wane to the downside. So that's something I'm keeping my eye on. So far, yeah, so far the resistance is still valid. Interesting. It's interesting this is happening in real time, so you guys get to really see what's the dealio with this development. Okay, TSI. TSI is actually waning. Now, it's not confirmed that this is going to the downside just yet. The predominant slow-moving average is still blue, so you can't necessarily confirm on the 4-hour that things are going to go to the downside at this time. But the momentum is heading to downside. Like the bulls are taking profits or leaving for the weekend. That's kind of where my head is at. Now let me go to the 4-hour here. 4-hour MACD also shows waning momentum. This is actually a really nice developed bull run that we had here, but now I'm thinking this could eventually just give out and lead into a bear market weekend. That's kind of where my head is at, so I do see waning momentum to the upside. Also, the MACD, indicator is kind of, instead of expanding, it's now contracting. Another reason as to why I'm a little bit bearish this weekend. What else we got here? Okay, on the MACD-X, double MACD, there is a sell signal at this point. So like this particular range, I like to see a sell signal and then a bear label, right? So that indicates a legit bearish divergence. We don't necessarily have a bearish divergence yet on the 4-hour, but we did have the initial trigger of the sell signal. So, ooh, this is interesting. The RSI, which is a faster moving indicator here, we kind of have a bullish control zone territory. There was a bounce off of the slow moving average, it seems, but is this a dead cat bounce? Because the angle, I don't like the angle of the RSI move just yet. I like that there was a bounce, but like I've said in the past, there is no cross down just yet, so I wouldn't necessarily, open up a fresh short at this time if you're trading on the 4-hour. There's still some time left for the bulls to continue this move. I mean, there's really no confirmation of a dump just yet, even on this faster moving average, just like the RSI. Now, what's happening here on the TMA? The TMA did kind of already have a top, and like I've said in the other previous videos, that the TMA I like to really indicate tops and bottoms because it does a really good job of finding local tops and local bottoms. So let me show you what I mean here. Yeah, okay, so if you come all the way down here, you get, it literally identifies the wick, down to the wick. You see that? Right here, right here. Okay, up top, you see that? Right there. So it might not be over, right? You could have some form of divergence. The TMAs do kind of show some divergence at this time, and it'll actually print labels of divergence confirmation. But from my perspective, just eyeball testing it, we did kind of experience a local top. This could come back up and maybe like target the 22.6 from my perspective on the 4-hour, but from my perspective, it's just kind of like a neutral zone, really stagnation, I feel. So yeah, from my just off of the eyeball test, I do feel like we did kind of top out for the week. Okay, so now I'm going to move to the 1-hour, which is more important for intraday trading at this time. And I'm going to start with my other indicators here. See, so this is why you do not want to make sudden moves at this time. You kind of want things to play out. So on the 1-hour, we do not have a 9 EMA or 21 EMA cross. Just like on all the other indicators, we did kind of see bulls step up and avoid the cross. At this time, there's no legit cross, and actually, we even have like a buy signal on the 1-hour. So if you go to the Heikin-Ashi candles, well, money flow has peaked. So as you can see, money flow kinda has peaked. There's still stuff to play out, obviously. Usually it takes a long while. There could be some stagnation, but from my perspective, there could be another leg to the upside, but ultimately it has to equal or outmaneuver this previous momentum move, so that's going to be kind of tough. What I'm kind of looking for is a lower hill. So when the previous hill in the momentum waves is higher than the current hill, that is a bearish trigger wave. A bearish trigger wave is actually bearish. Like, obviously, right? What that means is that momentum is chosen a direction. That hasn't happened yet. We're actually getting the contrary. We actually have a buy signal at this time. I don't like buy signals above the 0 line though. This to me usually indicates weakness. I like, buy signals even below the -60 line, which is far away from that. But the bar is still green. This particular zone right here, it's been green for the past 5 days. So momentum, the trend is your friend until the end. So yeah, right now the current bias is bullish despite all the other indicators saying otherwise. But since we're still in the Heikin-Ashi candles, so Heikin-Ashi candles currently are bullish as long as price is above the last bullish engulfing candle. The last bullish engulfing candle was here, right there. So at 21.249, basically 21.25. So as long as price is above there, there is a bullish bias. Price needs to break below that in order to actually make a parabolic move to the downside. So that hasn't happened yet. Currently, there's been about 8 hourly candles that have not been able to do that. But price did break below the 9. Not only did it break below the 9, it actually had a couple hourly consolidations. So that completely changed the momentum of the exponential moving average, the 21 in particular. So if you'd notice, this slope was way more extreme than this current one, right? That to me indicates stagnation. So that's why I can't necessarily be bullish, even though that there is a buy signal on the market cipher indicator. So I'm also noticing wicks on the top side, and this slope right here has been confirmed. So it's been 1 touch point, 2 touch point, 3, 4, 5. So top side is mature, and it is confirmed, even with this current hourly candle, which is about to close in 6 minutes. So I'm going to keep this here. I'm going to keep this as like my invalidation line. I don't know why I have this side. I'm just gonna like, yeah. Okay. So I am, well, you know what? I'm gonna do a better job at it. There you go. There you go. That's better. Yeah, so I'm going to keep my thesis as this says a developing, broadening, descending wedge. Now, it's not confirmed. The bottom side is not confirmed. So in terms of price, like this could get invalidated in a hot minute, right? So this could come all the way down, break through it, and just like knife all the way down through. Now, I don't think that's going to happen per se. More so in the camp where, yeah, price will eventually cross the 9 will cross below the 21, confirm it as resistance, also validating 21.683 as resistance again, and then come down and slowly, gradually test this zone here. But that's conjecture at this point. But yeah, this is kind of where my mind is at regarding the 1 hour. So where are my indicators? I only did market side first, so let me do the TSA. The TSA did have a cross to the downside. This would have been a decent play on the 1 hour. See, this is why I still like the 1 hour momentum indicators, because even though it goes against the grain, that's still a 2.5% move on like the weakest, or not the weakest, the largest market cap crypto. So even if you're trading Bitcoin, you can still make like pretty decent moves on the 1 hour if you're using, pretty good indicators and you understand like horizontal support and resistance lines. You can candle read and you understand like exponential moving averages and how they kind of play and really kind of work with each other. But anywho, so we're kind of having, in my opinion, a dead cat bounce because the TSI is red, so the bias should be bearish. As you can see, I don't know if you noticed, it was green here not too long ago, and it turned gray again. So what does that mean to me? This is a dead cat bounce at or near the 0 line, and it's going to eventually kind of come down. That's just my opinion. The bias is bearish on the 1 hour. I mean, this entire candle, when I started streaming, was green and bullish engulfing above the resistance line, but it eventually came back down, and now it's kind of forming another wick top. And yeah, this candle is not bullish at all at current junctures, right? So yeah, let me go to my other indicators here. Okay, so on and this is a slow moving average. Yeah, so we actually had a resistance. So the MACD tried to cross again above, but it got rejected off of the slow moving average. So this actually confirms resistance. Also is currently playing out. The TSI here is showing us prices below 21.25, or I'm sorry, 21.825.87. Price will continue to the downside, and that's exactly what's kind of happening. Now, momentum has been up top above the 0 line for a while now. And we actually did get that bearish label on the 1 hour, so that's kind of interesting. And also, what I don't like if you're a bull, is sloping momentum. The slope is to the downside, which further validates my assumption that price will continue to the downside. The RSI is already out of the bullish control zone on the 1 hour. Now, there could be a rejection off of the bearish control zone, which did happen here a couple hours ago. but the slow moving average is sloping to the downside and it is now acting as resistance as opposed to support. So TMA as well is showing that the average is now acting as resistance as opposed to support. As you can see how it was a couple of, like yesterday, this was acting as support. It was like a bounce off of it. Now this is a bounce off of it but pointing downward. So yeah, you can expect downward at this time. But anywho, yeah, so oof, that is bearish engulfing. Yep. Okay, so from what I'm looking at here is the development of either a bull flag or a broadening descending channel. Now, the steepness from this lower low, I'm going to go off of that for now. This is not fully developed right here. This particular line is not fully developed. In my opinion, not enough data. Top side is pretty clear cut. You saw it, within the past 30 minutes. This resistance line is pretty valid. Now 21.6 is looking to be a valid resistance line, so I'm going to go off of that. Yeah, I think I did a pretty thorough analysis for today. I'm just going to leave it off at that. Yeah, so line in the sand right here, 21.249.5. I'm gonna, if price kind of gets down to there and breaks below it, I'm gonna be expecting lower prices, frankly. This is gonna be either future support or future resistance. This is kind of like the new pivot line for me. But yeah, I hope this was informative for you guys. And yeah, let me know what else you guys want me to kind of analyze. I'm happy to do more specific coins for you guys, stocks if you're into that kind of stuff. Yeah, just ask in the comments down below, and I'm happy to assist you in regards to any analysis with that. Also, if you haven't yet to subscribe, please subscribe, or yeah, like and subscribe if you think this is stuff you find valuable. Alright guys, anyway, I'm gonna sign off here. Have a great rest of the weekend, and take care. Bye bye.